Are you ready for the truth? Bring it on.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Do you want the whole truth? I don't think you're ready.
Governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people.
It's Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're glad you're here, right here on the AFR Talk Network. I'm Crane Durham. This is Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. And just had a great conversation with our good friend, Pastor Aaron Free, Knollwood Church, Mobile, Alabama. Love you, Mobile. Love you, Fair Hope. And when we had a number of topics that we were going to get to in that, it was Israel. We were going to talk about bullying. But sometimes the conversation takes a road of its own and just keeps going. And Aaron always gives us very sound counsel. So we appreciate his interpretation, his analysis. Really blessed. Favorite part of the show, really is. I've got a lot of great friends on the show that we've built over the years, and it's been wonderful relationships. But favorite time of the week is that time, and I hope you are enjoying it too. Many of you have the time and taken the time to sign up for the Prayer for Those to Come to Christ on Facebook, and we appreciate those submissions as Aaron reads them. And what a blessing it is to have him on. You can go to the Facebook page, by the way, American Family Radio, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Trying to get up to 5,000 likes this week. Like the page, comment, engage. It's all the rage. Oh, stop it. Well, it's true. And you'll have access to a whole host of things like interviews and some other things in the future dealing with the website, Nothing But Truth. But that said, I just want to go right to what I've just learned. President Obama has apologized, at least in a qualified way, regarding Obamacare. He personally apologized. This is how it's listed. Obama personally apologizes for Americans losing health coverage. Okay? And here's the quote: "I am sorry that they are finding themselves in this situation based on the assurances they got from me. We've got to work hard to make sure that they know we hear them, and we are doing everything we can to deal with folks who find themselves in a tough position as a consequence of this." That's an interview with Chuck Todd. Tomorrow, we're going to have Beat the Press, as we do on Fridays, with the real Woodward, Chris Woodward. And we'll ask him about this interview. We'll probably have some excerpts from we definitely will have some excerpts from the interview and get his take on Chuck Todd's job and how he did and the questions and follow-ups and everything else. Find it interesting that now he's apologized, now he's sorry. What did it take? Well, it took all the other strategies failing, and then he has to say he's sorry for the assurances that he gave. And understand what President Obama's tactic has been in dealing with things that have not gone well and things that have not lived up to the promises is get mad himself. I'm mad at it too. I'm mad at the stimulus. I'm mad at this. I'm mad at that. And he does these things. So you could say, well, he's taking responsibility to a degree. Is anybody going to lose their job? Supposedly, Kathleen Sebelius has a major announcement tomorrow. Saw a headline there. We'll bring you some updates when they come due, if they come due. That said, let's find out what the president had to say yesterday while in Texas talking to navigators. Yes, the Obamacare navigators. Maybe a pep talk for them. It's been described by some news agencies. Here is President Obama talking about Obamacare being a great product. Just those cash registers aren't able to ring it out. Roll it.
Now, I'm the first to say that the first month I've not been happy with. You've all heard about the website woes. Nothing drives me more crazy than the fact that right now there's great insurance to be had out there choice and competition where people can save money for a better product, except too many folks haven't been able to get through the website. Now, this is like having a really good product in a store and the cash registers don't work and there aren't enough parking spots and nobody can get through the door. And so we are working overtime to get this fixed. And
okay. If we don't purchase this product, we were forced to buy this product. We were lied to about the product. We were lied to again and again and again. And now we got, we'll say, an apology to a qualified apology, but no real accountability. And he knows how he started that. I'm mad about it too. Well, you knew this website wasn't ready to go. They also knew that people would be losing their health coverage. Are you mad or apologizing for the lie you told us to? I think the only way you can defend the behavior of this administration is if you don't hold them to account. If you say, you know what, it's like the loyalty thing. Hey, right or wrong, I'm with him. Right or wrong, hey, he can lie to us, he can do whatever, but I'm loyal. You put loyalty above character. You put loyalty above everything else, and this is what you get. I guess that's what happens in the mob too, right? I mean, it's the gangster guy. Oh, loyalty, absolutely do whatever you want. How corrupt you are, or you can lie all you want, you can do that. Sure. And I think to myself, if this is what I do when I look at President Obama sometimes, I see President Bush, and I say, if President Bush were doing this, would I defend it? I even think if President Reagan had done this, would I defend this? Because, yeah, personal feelings can get in the way, and loyalty can trump right and wrong at times. It's human nature, I'm sure. But what really chaps me, what really steams my beans, is the idea that people make this out to be something that it is not, which is hate, which is somehow an upset or a problem with the Obama administration because of the party name of Democrat or because of race. Yeah, I know, it's juvenile. And we're going to see more and more of this, by the way, and I've said this for a long time. No, it doesn't have to do with that. It has to do with a piece of legislation that was passed not in a bipartisan way when they spoke to bipartisanship and rammed it down the throats of the American people, never recognizing that American people were really never on board. They never did the job of selling it. They lied about it. They lied about it knowing that people would be losing their health coverage. Then they tried to marginalize the lie by saying it's only a sliver of the 5%. Now we're looking at 93 to 128 million between small businesses and medium-sized to large businesses that people will be losing their health care coverage. They go before Congress and won't admit that it's a lie. Members of the administration won't say it's a lie. And it's only when it gets to a threshold of, well, we can't really blame the insurance companies anymore, so now we're sorry for the insurances that we gave. Are you sorry for lying to the American people, knowingly misleading the American people? Are you sorry for telling a lie to us? See, I wouldn't like this only to be about Obamacare. I'd like to go back to Benghazi, but then people say, oh, you're conflating a bunch of scandals, and they're so-called scandals. Yeah, 4 Americans dying and the president lying about it and then putting the liar who did lie on 4 Sunday shows and promoting her after the fact, knowing she wouldn't get a review from the Senate because she didn't have to be approved by the Senate. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm doing. You see, this is what happens. I open up one issue with this administration, and I can touch on another, and all of a sudden we've got a fire hose going, and people say, well, you got to stay on point. Well, here's my point. The administration has not been honest. They continue to lie. And the arrogance in which they've approached this, the idea that we must be just a bunch of dumb folks sitting here with, I don't know, they have No, well, how can you respect the American people when you believe in a ruling class? It really brings up a story. I'll never forget this. I was at a party about 15 years ago, and it was a dinner slash, sit-around party, people from all over, and some of my old classmates were there, and from high school, and there was a person there, and somebody had brought her in because she was the girlfriend of somebody. She worked at the State Department, and I asked her about something along the lines of, why, in essence, it came down to, why don't you trust the American people? Because the idea was that you think more, you have to, the ruling class idea. See, it was even back then. And in essence, it was a total insult. Never forget the fact that they don't understand the issues. They don't really get it. They can't fathom. We need to do this. And that was the attitude. That hasn't changed. That's the concept. It's the idea that you just don't know what's good for you. And by the way, we're not going to have to live like you do under our rules that we pass because we're the ruling class. We're going to have to get that. Incidentally, did you know that the unions are getting a nice deal? Yeah, the deal's in the mix for the unions to get an exemption regarding the health care law that is costing them, that was going to hit them like everybody else, that was it was causing the outrage. That Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, that crazy guy, Ted Cruz, who talked about the devastation of Obamacare that we are seeing, and he gets lambasted as some kooky senator, some way out there senator for bringing the American people the truth. If Ted Cruz were a liberal, he'd be looked at, Mr. Smith goes to Washington, but he's a conservative, and he wants the Constitution to be enforced in the sense of the parameters understood and the limitations that were outlined to be respected. No, he is not Mr. Smith. He's a whack job. If he's a liberal, he's Mr. Smith goes to Washington. That's when they can get really excited about it. See, I see all of that crumbling, by the way. The whole liberal mystique of, it's just amazing. These are the people that we should emulate. These are the people that are doing the real good. You see, what President Obama has done, the good thing about the administration in the sense of policies, is he's given us a full frontal of liberalism. And it's accelerated. And so even when they did it incrementally and tried to hide it, what he's done is said, here it is, spotlight on it. And with Obamacare, it's hitting each and every one of us in some way. And people are going, wait a second, you right-wing Christian conservatives who are so concerned with life and family, you silly gooses, how dare you? I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe, wait a second, you're right, wait a second. What are you talking about? It's too restrictive at 20 weeks in Texas? Do you think it's too restrictive? Do they want to put in mandatory rules or rules that would require that there are doctors on the scene in case there is something, a health concern that needs to be dealt with, and we've dealt with that? And they're talking about a war on women, and you're trying to actually protect women? Really? See, that's what's happening. I truly believe it. And I'm not being Pollyannish. I'm just saying that we've seen a lot of bad, but America's seen this. If you want to point to the problem in America, you can say education and school choice. Yeah, that's a big part of it. You can take any problem and go to the American family and the breakdown of the American family. Boy, Dan Quayle was a real moron, wasn't he? He spoke to the American family and the idea that the breakdown of the American family could cause great destruction. And you look at societal ills and the importance of having a mother and a father. Well, the way we'll deal with that is if you mention that, if you talk about that, what we're going to do is we're going to say you don't like single women and you're against single women with children, that you hate on them, you're judging them. And if it's in a particular community, and we'll break it down by color, I don't like doing that because I don't think it's about color, I think it's about human nature. It doesn't have to do with pigmentation, but nonetheless, if we have to break it down that way and say there are greater degrees of it in a certain community, then we'll call you racist. You'll just be pointing out the facts, not referencing the color aspect, but referencing the facts that you see an increase and you see the destruction of that increase when you talk about out-of-wedlock birth. See, they don't want the truth. They don't want to see it the consequences. They want to distract people from the consequences and say, hey, guess what? We'll fix the consequences with daddy government. That'll work. Daddy government. He's a good daddy, isn't he? He pumps us up on the drug known as the welfare state. And he keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. All the while saying he's being compassionate, yet incentivizing the things that are destroying America. That's what's going on. And when you try to change it and say, hey, we do need to help people in need, we'll change the question, we'll move the goalpost, and we will say, you are against those programs and you don't like people in need. You want them to die, when you are saying, no, I want to truly help them. It is my job. It is my obligation. It is what the church does. We do it better, 60 to 90 cents on the dollar better than 30 cents on the dollar with federal programs. We'll take out the waste, fraud, and abuse, and we'll bring it directly to people. And you accuse us, instead of what we're doing is saying how you help people versus if you're going to help people, evaluating programs not on how much other people's dough you spend on them, but the efficiency of it, that you actually fix the problem. Wow, what we'll do is, because you have the right answer, we realize you're right. And if you'll figure out that what we're doing is we're saying there's a ruling class setting the rules, they don't have to live by them, or they will live above them in some way because, hey, being the ref is a wonderful thing in liberalism. Well, that's great. We can't really let people see that for what it is, because then they'll realize that their power comes and is determined by us. We determine how far they're going to go, what gifts they're going to use, and how long they're going to live, how they're going to live, what opportunities they will have, all the while exploiting the heck out of it by saying, hey, guess what? We're going to provide more opportunity because we believe that everyone should have a chance. So we'll put in rules that don't incentivize, that don't put everybody in the same place, or at least have the opportunity that people have. No, we'll make sure everybody finishes at the same place. That's what we're going to do. So we're not only going to take everybody at the starting line an opportunity to get into the arena and race. No, what we're going to do is we're going to make everybody under our umbrella of power. And we get to choose, what industry succeeds, what industry fails. Hey, Ford? No, not so much. GM? Yeah. Let's see here. What is this? Green energy. It really doesn't work at all. But we've got to pay off 80% of our donors who got the loans from the Department of Energy. Yeah, we can do that. It doesn't really work, and we're going to promise the world. And those of you involved in an industry that we don't like, well, we're going to go after you. And we're going to take former legislation that decreased our ability to produce oil, but was passed under two different presidencies, Clinton and Bush, and we're going to claim credit for the increase in the production. All the while, we're going to strangle it because it's not an industry that we favor. Oil companies are smart enough to say, you know what we want to do? We're going to shift over. You're going to start investing in green energy and making new rules and making mandates, and so that people will have to buy from us. That sounds like healthcare in a way, doesn't it? Yeah, you're getting it. So we'll just shift on over. But here's the deal. The people with the power get to determine who wins. That doesn't foster innovation. That doesn't foster the idea of the American dream where you can come here and no matter where you start, you can rise if you work hard enough. No, it's the exploitation of that idea and the big government solution that makes daddy government, the state, your daddy. And all the while, incidentally, any challenge to the state, and what's going to challenge state? Well, deriving our rights from God, understanding that it's not just about pure capitalism, but it's about a belief that we have not only an obligation to ourselves and to use the gifts that we have, but that we get our freedom from God and we have an obligation to our fellow man. See, that's another part of this. And by doing this, we don't have to subjugate them, in essence, through the program. We can liberate them by giving and providing the service to help them. Yeah. And we also recognize that, first and foremost, the right to life, that we are endowed by our Creator, the right to life. And remember, the state Are you following me here? The state gets to determine that. And the state will sell it as reproductive rights. They'll sell it as health care for everybody. But if it's health care for everybody and they're making that determination, remember, if they make that determination, they get to determine where the resources go. It's just an idea. It's a buffet, take it or leave it. I'm telling you it's the truth, and history and the record will show that way. So if you really want to be truly compassionate, do you measure compassion in the amount of money you spend or the actual help that you give someone? Do you measure compassion making the deal with government, the Faustian bargain, to say, hey, we're going to shake your hand and you're going to take care of the people in need? Meanwhile, they're creating more people in need and exacerbating the situation. I got to go to a little Ashton Kutcher. I'd like to play Ashton Kutcher's remark, cut number 9. This is Ashton Kutcher, seriously. Yeah, cut number 9. He was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, of all shows. He was on that show, and he spoke to the idea of fame. Roll it.
Much of what we see in the world today is this sort of propaganda machine around fame and around celebrity, and I actually think that there are some kids in the world that grow up today that think, when I grow up I want to be famous, instead of when I grow up I want to do something, I want to build something, I want to create something. And I thought that it was a valuable moment to actually let them know that it's all of that's kind of, and that, you know, working hard and being thoughtful and generous and smart, it's a path to a better life.
Path to a better life. Tomorrow I'll play part 2 of Ashton Kutcher's comments because he was right on. But it's actually talking about recognizing what your purpose is and not making you yourself God, not worshiping yourself. Well, Crane, you're a talk show host. You worship yourself. Hey, easy. Stop that. That's not, oh, come on. Cheap shot. I'm sure I'm capable of it. Oh, Lord, help me. Just a disciple in progress, doing the best I can with my shaped head and understanding that it is His grace, and I am no better in the eyes of God than any other sinner, and understanding that God knows you and God loves you. Seek Him. Get to the Facebook page, check it out, tell me what you think. I wish we had more time, but we're out for tonight. Tomorrow we'll be back. Live with honor in your life, compassion in your heart. Remember to always, always keep the faith in Jesus Christ. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Go to the Facebook page, like the page, and let me know what you think of the show. Thank you so much. God bless.